If I were buying a home in Tampa Bay right now, I would not start by looking at homes. And I know that sounds strange coming from a realtor, but in this market, the buyers making the best decisions are not always the one moving the fastest. They're the ones who understand the numbers, the leverage, the timing, and the strategy before they ever write the offer. Some are waiting on interest rates to come down. Some are wondering if prices will finally start coming down as well. But underneath all of that is one real question. Tamily, if this were you, knowing what you know about the Tampa Bay market, what would you actually do? And my answer is not simply buy or wait. I'd follow a 6-step playbook in a very specific order. And this is designed to protect my money, understand where I have leverage, and make sure I'm not making a decision from fear, pressure, or emotion. So in this video, I'm walking you through exactly what I would do if I were buying a home in Tampa Bay today. So let's break it down. Hi, I'm Tamily Abdo here with the best of Tampa Bay now. And if you've been on this channel for a while, you know my approach. Real numbers, honest answers, no sales pressure, just the information you need to make one of the biggest decisions of your life. Today's video is different from the others I've done. Most of my videos break down a topic. We talk neighborhoods, prices, insurance, but today I'm just walking you through my own brain. If I were starting fresh, if I had to buy a home in Tampa Bay today, with everything I know, here's exactly what I would do step by step. Some of these steps will save you thousands of dollars, and a couple of them will save you from buying a home you'd later regret. And all of them are things I do with every buyer who works with me. 6 steps plus a Q&A at the end with questions you'll definitely have after hearing this. So hit subscribe if you haven't. We drop a new video every Thursday, all built around what real buyers actually need to know. Let's start with step 1, and this is the one most buyers skip. I want to start and take a look and stock at my life and my current daily activities. I'm not going to start with Zillow, not a home tour, not even a budget conversation. I really want to take account what my life looks like. So before I look at a single listing, I'm going to sit down and answer 5 questions about what my daily life needs to look like from this home. So I'm going to ask myself, where do I work? And how often am I going into that office? Is it 5 days a week? Because if so, then my commute is really gonna matter. If it's twice a month, then it probably won't matter too much at all. What do I do on weekends? If I'm at the beach every Saturday, living 45 minutes inland is gonna wear me down. If I'm a hiker, a foodie, a runner, a boater, that lifestyle has to be available where I live, not somewhere I drive to. How important is walkability to me? Some people thrive in a community where they can walk to dinner on a Friday night. Others want privacy and a big yard. There's no wrong answer, but there's one right answer for you. And finally, what's the energy you want to come home to? Quiet trees, busy main street, family-friendly cul-de-sac, urban vibe? I would answer all 5 questions before I even thought about budget. And why does this matter? Most buyers fall in love with a home and then try to make the life around it work, and it rarely does. They end up in a beautiful house in the wrong neighborhood for who they are, and 6 months later, they're miserable. They sell at a loss and start over. The buyers who do this right find the life first. Then they find the neighborhood, then they find the home inside that neighborhood, and in that order. What I'd like to do is write down my 5 answers on paper, show them to my partner, and then make sure that we agree. That single piece of paper becomes a filter for every listing we look at after that. And if a home doesn't fit those 5 answers, no matter how beautiful it is, no matter how good the price, I move on. The home is not worth the wrong lifestyle. Step 2, and this is where most buyers move way too fast. Before I went on a single home tour, I would have my finances locked in. That means 3 specific things. First, I'd shop lenders, and I'd specifically work with a broker. And here's something most buyers don't know about lenders. A big bank only offers one set of products, and that's typically their own. When you walk into a national bank, you're getting one option: the rates, fees, and programs they're willing to offer you, and that's it. A mortgage broker is different. A broker can shop multiple lenders on your behalf, and they can compare different loan programs, different rates, and different fees and then finds the option that actually fits your specific situation. That's the lane I would absolutely use if I were buying today. So my recommendation is start with a broker who can shop multiple lenders. If you want to compare what your bank can offer alongside it, do that too. I actually recommend it. But the broker is what gives you the real comparison. And second, I do all of my rate shopping within the same 2-week window. This part matters because of how credit scoring works. When lenders pull your credit, that's called a hard inquiry. And hard inquiries can lower your score slightly. But the credit bureau built in a window for rate shopping. The newest FICO scoring model gives you a 45-day window. Older versions give you 14 days. Vantage Score uses this 14 days also. And so to be safe across every scoring model, do all of your rate shopping inside that window. Now, when you do that, the credit bureaus treat all the inquiries as one, so your score doesn't move as much, and you get to see a real comparison. Third, I'd ask my broker for the full breakdown, not just the rate. The rate is one number. What fees can swing your total cost by thousands of dollars over the life of the loan. So I'd ask for the interest rate, the origination fees, the discount points if any, and the estimated closing costs, and then the total cost of the loan over 5 years and over 30 years. That last number, total cost over 5 years, is the one most lenders won't give you unless you ask. By the time I walk into my first home tour, I would know exactly what I could afford, I'd know my real monthly payment, and I'd have a pre-approval ready to submit with any offer, and I'd have actual options. We're 2 steps in, and did you notice something? We haven't looked at a single home yet. We haven't browsed Zillow, we haven't driven to a neighborhood, and this is intentional. The buyers who do the best in this market start with their life and their finances, not the listings. By the time they're looking at homes, every decision has already been narrowed down. Let's keep going. Step 3, picking the neighborhood. This is a part where most online research breaks down, because Zillow can tell you what a home looks like inside, but it cannot tell you what it feels like to live there. So here's what I would actually do. I'd pick 3 neighborhoods that match my 5 answers from step 1. I wouldn't pick 10, I'd pick 3, because if you give yourself too many options, you'll never make a decision. Match your life to 2 or 3 neighborhoods that fit it. If you've watched my episode on hidden neighborhoods, you have a head start there. Saturday morning, Wednesday evening after work, and Sunday afternoon. A neighborhood feels completely different at each of these moments. Saturday morning shows you the lifestyle. We're thinking farmers markets, families walking their dogs, weekend energy. Wednesday evening shows you what a normal weeknight looks like. And then Sunday afternoon shows you the pace of life. If this is somewhere I can relax, or does it feel busy and stressful? By the 3rd visit, you'll know. This sounds obvious. Most buyers don't actually do it. I'd ask the right people the right question. And let's face it, I'm not knocking on strangers' doors. That's just not realistic for most buyers. And it's not how I research a neighborhood either. But I would use the resources I actually have access to. I'd ask my agent, and I mean really ask. A good local agent works dozens of neighborhoods every year. I check the neighborhood community pages on Facebook or Nextdoor. Read the recent posts and what are people complaining about and what are they celebrating. 5 minutes of scrolling tells you what real residents actually think. I look at the school ratings even if I didn't have kids, because school ratings affect resale value over time. And if 3 different sources tell me the same thing about a neighborhood, believe them. And as far as school zones are concerned, I am the resource of resources. So I will make sure that you have proper sources that can give you more information specifically about school ratings so that you can make an informed decision. I'd also do some research on any future developments. Is there a big project coming nearby? A new highway, a commercial development? Your agent should know what's planned. And sometimes it could be good news, but sometimes it's not. The mistake I'd avoid would be treating a neighborhood like a uniform block of value. One Seminole Heights street can be very different from another. One Riverview community can be very different from 1 mile away. Research the neighborhood, then research the specific streets. Step 4. When I found a home I really liked, I would not move forward with the offer until I had 3 specific things in front of me. Number 1, the flood zone for the specific address. This is the very first thing I'd check. In Tampa Bay, flood zones can change block by block. One of the side of the street can be in an AE zone, while the other side of the same street can be in a much lower risk, Zone X. The difference dramatically changes what your insurance is gonna cost. If the property is in a flood zone, I would ask the listing agent if the seller has a current insurance policy that they can share, and many sellers will. That gives me a real reference point for what insurance is actually costing on this exact home today. So at the offer stage, I'm checking the flood zone and looking at any current policies that the seller can share so that I can get a reasonable read on what insurance is likely going to cost. Number 2, I would consider the age of the roof. In Florida, roof age affects what insurance carriers will write on the home and what they'll charge, and whether the home will pass a 4-point inspection, which is something most insurance companies require before they'll issue a policy. So it's good to find out the roof age, and then of course, depending on the roof age, consider what you're going to be offering on the house based on that information. Number 3, the comparable sales. I would ask my agent to pull every home that's sold within a half mile of the property in the last 90 days. I'd look at price per square footage, and I'd look at how long they sat on the market. I'd also look whether they sold above or below asking. This tells me whether the home is priced fairly or whether the seller is asking for too much. In a buyer's market like where we are experiencing right now, most homes are selling slightly below their original asking price. Knowing exactly how much below for similar homes nearby gives me real leverage when I make my offer. Once I have all 3, then I start calculating my estimated monthly costs. So I'm looking at my mortgage payment, plus my taxes and my insurance, if there's an HOA included, so that I can see what my monthly numbers look like. Once I have that, then I can compare to what purchase price I'll be offering and to see if there's a match with a number that I'm comfortable with. 4 steps down, 2 to go. This is where things get interesting because now we're talking about the offer itself and the things I'd negotiate that most buyers don't even know they can negotiate. Step 5, the offer itself. Most buyers think the offer is one number, the price. That's it. And it's not. A good offer in this market especially has at least 4 moving parts, and the buyers who understand all 4 get significantly more value than the buyers who don't. Part 1, the price. In a buyer's market, I would not pay full asking price unless the home was priced aggressively low to begin with. I'd use my comparable sales from step 4 to determine what I'm willing to offer. And sometimes that could be a couple thousand under asking. Part 2, seller paid concessions. In Tampa Bay's current market, this is almost always available. I'd ask the seller to pay 2 to 3% of the purchase price towards my closing costs. On a $500,000 home, that's $10,000 to $15,000. And here's a piece of information most buyers don't know. There are guideline caps from Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac the agencies that back most conventional loans, and that limits how much a seller can pay in concessions. In this market, many sellers are willing to pay to lower your interest rate for the first 1 to 3 years of your loan, and it's called a rate buy down. So there's a 2-1 buy down, which is common structure, typically costs the seller around $10,000 to $12,000. For me as the buyer, it could save me $300 to $500 a month on my payment in the first 2 years. Part 4. The inspection contingency. The inspection contingency is a clause that says you can back out of the deal if the inspection reveals serious problems, especially on an as-is contract. This is a non-negotiable for me. I would never waive my inspection contingency, ever, no matter how much I love the home or how aggressive the sellers wanted me to be. The inspection is your protection. After we get the inspection report, if there are issues, I would ask for repair credits, money from the seller to cover whatever the inspection found. In 2025, roughly 20 to 25% of all home sales nationally included some form of seller concessions. In a buyer's market like ours, that number jumps to over 40%. The buyers who ask for concessions get them. The buyers who don't ask, don't. And I would ask every single time. Step 6, the shortest of the 6, but maybe the most important. There are 3 things I would never compromise on. Not for a great deal and not for a beautiful home. Not for any reason. 1, I would never skip a full inspection. It doesn't matter how new the home is, a full inspection, independent inspector, no connection to the seller or the builder, is a non-negotiable for me every single time. I've helped dozens of buyers who want to live near the water and they anticipate those costs and plan for them. So just make sure that you go over if your home sits in a flood area and what those costs could end up being. And number 3, I would never buy a home that didn't fit my life. If the home was beautiful but the commute was 90 minutes, that's gonna be a hard pass. If the price was right but the neighborhood didn't fit, another pass. If everything looked good on paper but my gut said something was off, I'd listen to that and no, let's look for the next home. The home will be there and another one will come up. The cost of getting it wrong is too high to compromise on the fundamentals. This is where most buyers struggle with because real estate is emotional. When you fall in love with a property, your brain starts justifying things. The commute won't be that bad. We'll figure out the schools later. We can make this work. And I would not let myself fall into that trap. The home is one decision. The life I'm buying with is hundreds of decisions over the next 10 years. And life always wins every single time. All right, here's the entire playbook on one screen. Save this, take a screenshot, send it to anyone you know who's buying in Tampa Bay. That's the whole playbook. 6 steps in order every single time. Time for Q&A, and our first question is, would you really walk away from a home you loved if the insurance came back too high? You know, when we speak about numbers and affordability and what you're budgeting for, you have to take into consideration what these costs are gonna be year over year. And if the insurance is coming in at a much higher rate than we anticipated or what we budgeted for, it's not worth to take the risk of not being able to afford that payment. So yes, I would walk away if the insurance came way higher than what we were planning for. Question number 2, how do I find an agent for this process? And to be honest with you, this is one of the most important decisions of the entire process. And most buyers don't really think about it carefully enough. I would look for 3 things in an agent. First of all, I want local expertise. Not I sell all over Florida. I want somebody who works Tampa Bay specifically and who knows the neighborhoods that I'm considering. I also want an agent who works with clients in my specific area. So if I'm a first-time home buyer, I want to work with an agent that knows the ins and outs of somebody who's purchasing their home for the first time. Or if I'm a family that's relocating, I want expertise on the handle of that situation and that transition and how they've helped other families like me relocate to the state of Florida. Also, if you're an investor and you want to make sure that that agent knows the ins and outs of investment math, like how much is it going to take to acquire, fix if it needs anything, and if you're holding on to it, what are the rental numbers that make sense to purchase that property? So have a real conversation with the agent before you commit. The wrong agent is going to cost you thousands of dollars if you don't look what they're really great at. Another question is, what if I can't afford a 20% down payment? And that's one of the biggest myths, that you are required to have a 20% down. And actually, there are multiple loan programs that can help you with down payments as low as 3% conventionally and 3.5% if we go the FHA route. There's even USDA loans and VA loans that are 0% down. And Florida has also some really great down payment assistance programs, and they have some income limits, but most buyers can qualify. So make sure that you're working with an agent that can be the resource and provide you different options on how you can get into a home with all the different programs that Florida has to offer. Is there a budget you would recommend for buying in Tampa Bay right now? I'll start with this. I'm a real estate professional, I'm not a financial advisor. So the question about what your budget needs to look like for what you can afford in Florida. So I think it's really great to speak with somebody that can really take a look at your finances, have a financial consultation so that we can determine what is the best budget for you that can accommodate the lifestyle that you're looking for. All right, this is exactly what I would do if I were buying a home in Tampa Bay today. 6 steps in order, the same playbook I run with every buyer that I work with. And now you have it too. Subscribe if you haven't yet. New videos every Thursday, all built around what real buyers actually need to know. In the description below, there's a link to book a free call with our team. Tell us where you are in your home buying journey, and we'll walk you through specific version of this playbook, including how buyer representation works in today's market. No pressure, no obligation, just information.